Welcome back to Jersey Matters. As you have heard, it looks like right now, as things stand now, the Jersey coastline will be open up to offshore oil drilling. Somebody who is very much against that is Cindy Zipf, who is the Executive Director of Clean Ocean Action. Thank you so much for coming back.
Thank you, Larry. Thanks a lot.
Let me get your reaction, though, to what the Trump administration is doing when they have rescinded what President Obama did, putting a moratorium on offshore drilling, and now opening it up.
Yeah, it's outrageous. It's an outrageous plan, and almost maniacal in a way, because it includes all of the U.S. waters, from the Atlantic to, and more of the Gulf, and then all of the Pacific Ocean and some of Alaska. So it's 90% of U.S. ocean waters are now on the map for offshore oil and gas drilling. The proposals would come within 3 miles of our beaches. So literally every coastal beachgoer in America could be staring at an oil rig, and the risks that go along with it.
Yeah, you say outrageous and maniacal, and there's going to be people that disagree with you. Obviously, the administration disagrees with you. They don't think it's outrageous. They think we could use that oil. Why do you use those words?
Well, because right now we have a number of different reasons why developing fossil fuels is the wrong way to go. The first and foremost is that spills happen. We've seen, the Deepwater Horizon spill caused devastation to the Gulf of Mexico, and right now the administration is sort of doing a multi-phased approach where they're weakening the regulations, the protections for the ocean from drilling activities. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch that will definitely lead to additional oil spills and threaten the economies. Every governor, nearly every governor along the Atlantic coast is opposed to the idea of offshore drilling.
For tourism?
For tourism and commercial fishing and recreational fishing, property values, I mean, all of these things.
It was interesting how you answered the question, because I thought you were going to talk specifically about offshore oil drilling, but you said that we have to move away from fossil fuel, or all fossil fuel you're against. We're not at that point yet where we can get off of fossil fuel.
Well, but we are moving in that direction. And to expand at a time when we should be, reducing our fossil fuel exposure is really kind of at the crux of the matter, right? If we were going to be investing billions of dollars, if we want industry to be investing billions of dollars, wouldn't it be better to invest in solar power or renewable energy or energy conservation, energy efficiency? Because going after fossil fuels, that's a dead energy source. Sooner or later, it's going to run out, and there's not that much offshore oil and gas anyway. So to invest in the future, it would be. Do we know
that for a fact, that there's not that much?
Pretty much. I mean, under the studies that were most recent, it was something like 250 days of oil and about 500 days of natural gas in the whole entire Atlantic coast. That was the estimate.
What fascinates me about the decision is that we're at a point now where we're exporting more gas and oil than we are importing. So it seems to me it's not at a necessity, and it's not because we don't want to be beholden to some countries that have nefarious purposes. It seems purely economic, that we just want to make more money. It's
just, and you bring up a really excellent point, and not a lot of people recognize that we are a major exporter now. And so all we're really doing is filling big oil's pockets more. It's not about making New Jersey or making our country more independent. It's about selling the oil to the highest bidder. And that's, again, not in the public's interest. The public's interest is to try to slow climate change impacts from sea level rise, try to slow down the storm. We had the highest level of storm impacts that are really related to climate change. This planet is cooking, and we need to move away from fossil fuels, move into renewable energy and energy conservation, and maximize those, and not put at risk the entire clean ocean economy that we've been thriving on over these last 30 years.
You corrected yourself. Instead of New Jersey, you said the country, but believe me, I know where your heart is, and you want to protect the coastline off of New Jersey. How will this affect New Jersey specifically?
Well, the reason I also corrected myself is because New Jersey is so much at risk from any drilling in the Atlantic because of the Gulf Stream. Any drilling that happens off of Florida, Georgia, Virginia, the Carolinas, will ride the Gulf Stream up the Jersey shore and bring all the pollution and any oil spills directly off of our coast. So this is a matter, and all of the development of fossil fuels impacts all of our coasts.
Where are we now with this? I mean, it's going to be a long time before they actually start drilling, right? There's a process, there's a bidding for leases, and there's something that you were against the very first time I talked to you, and that's the seismic testing.
Right. So the seismic testing, we are anticipating that decision any day now, where there will be 5 companies that will be allowed to go out and blast the ocean with hundreds of decibel sound waves that pulse through not only the ocean, but deep, deep, deep into the seabed to look for offshore oil. And that has devastating consequences to marine life. Everything from scattering them, which is not good for fishermen, because if you scatter the fish, they're not going to be there for them to harvest, to death of marine life. So that's going to be the first wave of impacts that happen because
of fossil fuel. When will that happen?
You said that could happen the decision could happen any day, and that could happen within, within weeks of the decision being made.
It's interesting to me that you brought up, before we got on the air, all of the people up and down the coast that are against this. It's not just Democrats that are opposing Donald Trump. It's Republicans that are opposing this too.
Yeah, the ocean is really a nonpartisan zone. I mean, there are Republicans and Democrats that depend on the ocean for their livelihoods. So it really is a nonpartisan area, and we're seeing more and more governors of both parties step up. I mean, New Jersey's governor, ever since Tom Kean, has been opposed to offshore drilling, but more and more governors are lining up against. And Chris Christie was. He stood out as a lone Republican governor against offshore drilling for many years. But now, we're seeing almost the entire coast. Florida, interesting of note, Florida Governor Scott immediately opposed offshore oil and gas drilling, and somehow was able to get themselves exempted very quickly. So, it is curious.
You have midterm elections coming up, I would think, before anybody starts drilling, and I would imagine, because this is your job, you want people to pay close attention to this issue.
Anybody that wants to run for office better have ocean protection as one of their leading issues.
Especially in New Jersey.
Especially in New Jersey.
Thanks so much for coming in again.
Betcha.
Really appreciate it. Cindy Zipf is the Executive Director of Clean Ocean Action. When we come back.
Traffic fatalities are on the rise in New Jersey. We'll tell you why when we come right back.